With government funding set to expire Saturday, House Speaker Mike Johnson unveiled his government funding plan over the weekend, which extends funding until 2024 and removes the possibility of a bloated omnibus spending package from dropping right before the Christmas holiday. Now, the plan includes a creative two-step laddered approach to funding, which, though rare, has been used before in Washington. The Biden administration and Senate Democrats have criticized the idea. But earlier today, President Biden said he wasn't going to make a judgment on it, saying instead that he would wait and see what comes out of the talks between the Speaker and Democrat leaders in the House and the Senate. With less than a week on the clock, would the White House allow a government shutdown? Well, joining me now to discuss this is Congressman Buddy Carter. He serves on the House Budget Committee, and he's joining us from the House floor because he's got to go speak in just a moment. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Tony. Always a pleasure to be with you.
All right, so break it down for us. Explain to our viewers and our listeners what is being proposed, this two-step temporary funding measure.
Well, first of all, let me say that I applaud Speaker Johnson. I think this is a great idea, personally. Essentially what we do, as you know, we have to have 12 appropriation bills passed. Our goal is to avoid a Christmas tree omnibus like we have experienced in the past. We set that as one of our goals at the first of the year, that we did not want that to happen again. We don't want the government to shut down. We want the government to stay open. So this accomplishes both of those things. But what happens with this is that we take four bills. We take MILCON VA, THUD, that's Transportation and Housing and Urban Development, Ag and Energy and Water. We extend them through January 19th. Everything else we extend through February 2nd with clean CRs. Now, what that does is that it gives us the opportunity to work on those four bills, the MILCON VA, THUD, Ag, and Energy and Water, until January 19th. If we can get them done, then we go ahead and conference with the Senate. We go ahead and get them signed by the president. They go into effect. And unless we don't have them done by January 19th, if we don't, then we're going to have to go to another CR, I suspect, or they're going to have to close down. But if we can get those done, then the spending cuts that we will have in those and the policies and that will be included in those will go ahead and take effect. I personally like that. I personally like the idea of doing it as you can. You know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Right.
Well, let's take these bites as we can get them. And then we go on and we work until February 2nd on everything else and try to get it done as well.
So, Congressman Carter, let me just some of the criticism that's coming not from the Democrats but from the Republicans is that, well, this doesn't cut any spending. It keeps everything as it was under the Pelosi budget. And as you said, it's called a clean CR, meaning there's no changes to it. It's just a temporary continuation until these appropriations bills are finalized. So what do you say to your colleagues who are opposed to this?
Well, they are correct, and I get it. But the point is that we're not going to be able to get them done. We're not going to be able to get all 12 bills with the spending cuts done anytime soon, certainly not before January the 19th. And
right.
Why not go ahead and do what we can do until then? And I know that there may be a certain amount of leverage when you have all of them together, but
right.
We've tried that and it hasn't worked. I've always said Washington is about big ideas. This is a big idea, as you pointed out, never been done before. I personally think we ought to try it.
You made the point, yeah, talk about what hasn't been done before, but let's talk about what has been done before. As you alluded to, we see this almost every year where Congress gets jammed right before Christmas with this, an omnibus, as you call it, a Christmas tree. Everything is hanging on it, and either you're forced to vote for something at the last minute without even looking at it. This would preempt that by saying, no, we're gonna continue into January and February. That way you don't have the pressure of being forced into this at the end of the year.
Absolutely, and that's one of the good points that's to be made. There are three good points here. First of all, that is one of them, that we avoid the Christmas tree, the Christmas omnibus. The second one is that we can separate the CR from supplemental funding, and we can debate funding for Israel, funding for Ukraine, funding for the Indo-Pacific separately. And it should be done separately, because I guarantee you, if we do this omnibus, they're going to include that in there, and it's going to be jammed down our throat. But the third thing it does is we avoid a government shutdown. And whereas I have always said that a government shutdown is not the worst thing that could happen. The worst thing that could happen would be for us to continue to spend like we're spending recklessly. But at the same time, we do want to do everything we can to avoid a government shutdown, because it's just not good. It's not good for anyone, and it's hard to get out of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you cannot agree among Republicans on a temporary funding measure, how would you be able to get out of a government shutdown among Republicans?
You won't. And politically speaking, we'll take the blame for it. We'll take a hit for it, and we always do. And that's no good. It's not going to accomplish anything at all. So let's do everything we can to avoid a government shutdown, and let's take incremental wins when we can. Let's move the ball down the field.
And this would be doing that.
No, it's not a long touchdown pass, but it is advancing the ball down the field, and that's good. Right.
You're moving toward the first down. A final question for you, because I know you got to get to the floor, and we're almost out of time. This is in part to work. This is going to require some Democratic votes in the House. Is this going to set up another attack on the Speaker to try to remove a Speaker, or have the Republicans learned the chaos that brought on last time?
I'm not sure what lessons we've learned, to be quite honest with you, what lessons some members of our conference have learned. I think it's unfair. Mike Johnson inherited this situation. He inherited this mess, if you will. You can't really hold him responsible for what he inherited like this, and he's doing the best he can with it. I personally, I thought it was a dumb thing to do, to vacate the chair and to get rid of Speaker McCarthy. I thought that was a big error on our part, but it is what it is. It's done, and now we have the same situation with Mike Johnson, and if we repeat that, then shame on us. If they come up with a motion to vacate the chair and get rid of Mike Johnson because of what he's doing here, I think that's just terrible.
I don't think the American people would have much patience for that. Congressman Carter, we're out of time. Always great to talk with you. Thanks so much for joining us.